Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rosa Victoria, and as we're diving in today, we're going to be diving into everything that's coming to the surface for the month of January, what to watch out for, what to lean into. As you're present here, I want to remind you that this platform is a library of everything that you need to build your emotional awareness, to reconnect with yourself, and to step into your power and leadership. Now, as we're diving in here, what I will say, Virgo, as I'm connecting with your energy, is it feels like we're going into this new year with a need to just kind of think about who you are in this chapter. There's a lot of reinvention that's happening inside of your life, and this has to do with standard. You are so ready to raise your standard. However, in raising your standard of your outside space, that standard actually begins with you choosing yourself at a new level. And so what we're noticing here and what's coming to the surface is this major need for you to sit there and look at how you're not giving yourself your standard. And this is going to require such big reflection on all different chapters of your life, but it feels like there's no longer this desire to be in a vicious cycle of scarcity. I feel like when it comes down to scarcity, you know you've been stuck in this survival state for such a long period of time, and you no longer want this. And Spirit is showcasing to me now that you're setting this very strong non-negotiable about the standard that you want in your life. And it's time to start taking yourself and your desire seriously, because there's been something that you've been focusing on around you that you've almost been dabbling in, right? It's like, I'll put it on the back burner, I'll lean in a little bit, but you haven't been giving it your fullest connection. And your fullest connection is so needed. You have to give it a priority. You have to connect to it at the deepest possible level. And so Spirit is saying that it's not working to hold yourself back anymore. It's not working to debate things anymore. You have to be focused on what it is that you want. With this new standard, it's really making you think about self-love. And I don't mean this in a cliche thing, because self-love is not taking a bath. Self-love is not, taking yourself for a massage. Self-love is what you allow into your life time and time again. And so Spirit is saying the standard in which you trust other people needs to shift. Because I feel like there's been people that you've trusted, and this could be relationships, but it could also be business or clients. There's been people that you've trusted that ultimately do not have your best interest at heart. And what Spirit is showcasing right now is it's distorting your reality. You're starting to feel so low vibrational based on the other people around you. And that's not healthy for you. You now have to go into this chapter knowing what it is that you want and knowing what it is that you're ready to create. And that's going to require you to really look at the people that are creating these cycles of insecurities for you, because it's almost like your insecurities are not your own. These are not your insecurities to carry. These are not your burdens to carry. These are not your old energies to carry. You need to release them. This is your chance in your life to feel so connected with everything that you're building in every facet of your life. But if you're going to do that, you have to look at the standard that's downplaying. And that can come across very critical and a little bit like, oh, I'm shedding and I'm purging. And this is definitely a purging month for you, Virgo, because you're really looking at the journey of self-love from so many different angles. Now, the other thing with the journey of self-love is understanding, like, managing your finances is self-love. And so all the things that you have been avoiding about yourself, these are the things that you need to give time and attention to. Now, with your standard changing and evolving, there is people that you're going to have to leave behind. And that is such a scary journey, because we look at the people around us, again, family, friends, relationships, clients, business, colleagues. We look at the people that have been around us and we think, you can't come to the next chapter with me. And that can be really, really scary, because it's introducing you into this new version of yourself and this new version of your identity. But Spirit is saying you have to take the risk. You have to take the risk, and you have to choose yourself at the biggest possible level. And this is a time of not letting the old you win again, because you know the standard that you want in your life. You know what you expect from the people around you. And there is literally only you who can create that for yourself. And in creating that for yourself, everything else is going to shift. But if you want to create that, you have to tackle things at face value. Now, my throat is going very, very crackly. Those who have worked with me will know that my throat gets like very gassy, very like, I've got things to say. I've got things to get out there. And this is what I feel. I feel like your throat is blocked in some ways. It's almost the expression of this new identity cannot be expressed to the fullest right now. You visualize your higher self at this in this really big chapter of life. And this can be part of the blocking, because actually shifting identity is not about this big breakthrough. And we went through this inside of my Psychic Circle membership yesterday. So if you want to join that, I'll tag that down below. But it's not about having this big breakthrough. It's not about having this big timeline of events. It's about actually trusting yourself to move in this neutralized state. And when we're grounded in an identity, it doesn't have to be flamboyant and it doesn't have to be big, because it needs to be neutralized. And neutralize is where you normalize. And so if you're going through an identity shift right now, how are you going to normalize that identity? How are you going to really allow yourself to sit there and normalize an identity and not have to try too hard to create an identity? Instead, just give yourself time and position to say, do you know what? The simplest state of who I am, the simplest state of this reality, it is here and it's already existing inside of me. Now with that, the existence matters, because you are struggling to see that you are able to obtain a certain standard. And what Spirit is bringing to the surface for me is this reminder that the standard already exists inside of you. The only reason you're worried about the standard is you're worried about who you're leaving behind. But that's evolution. And through life, when we no longer tolerate or vibe with somebody's energy or emotions or thought process, we have to say, okay, I'm turning it up a notch and I'm going to the next level. And that's going to make a lot of people in your life uncomfortable, because they've never seen you choose yourself in this way. But you can no longer hold yourself back. Now, I want to speak about the non-negotiable, because money is a huge part of this shift for you. And when I'm diving into the non-negotiable, it does feel like you need to get very comfortable with the new non-negotiable. There are things that you are missing the mark on financially, and you're missing the mark because you're not raising your standard. You have to sit there and say, what is the non-negotiable that I want to be able to pay for inside of my life? And you have to be willing to open the doors to the opportunities that can meet you at that standard. And that's going to look like you putting yourself out there. This is a very strong action month for you, Virgo. And, you know, some of the other signs are more in a surrendered state and more in a like, let things flow to you. But Virgo, you are very much in an action state. This is about you facing what it is that you want and taking action for what it is that you desire. And the actions that you take are going to manifest into something bigger. And so don't just sit there and wait to get visible and wait to start a new job and wait to put yourself out there. Take the action, take the matters into your own hand, and position yourself exactly where it is that you desire to be, because the more action you take, the bigger the breakthrough. And I can see that your old identity is a bit intimidated by the action, and this is where you slip up, because you often go into these dips of lack of accountability, lack of willpower. You have to get through that noise, and our body's always going to try to hold us back, but you have to get through that. You have to decipher what is actually your body limiting itself and what is actually you needing rest. Because often in the beginning, we don't need rest, but our body tries to trick us into feeling like we need rest. And so it's so important now that you recognize, maybe I don't need rest, and maybe I need to make some positive changes to really embrace this next chapter of my life and embrace this next chapter of my reality. So if this resonated with you, Virgo, please do drop a like and subscribe down below, and stay tuned for more monthly episodes.